watching from India, and good afternoon to people watching from Oslo, Norway. And I have a very interesting guest with me today. And I would also like to tell you that he's joining all the way from Oslo, Norway. And one more thing I would like to tell you that most of his works have been translated into French. So he's basically a francophone writer. So let's quickly welcome Ari Gautier to Mona Lisa's talk show. Hi Ari, how are you?
Hi, Mona Lisa. Thank you for having me. I'm fine. Thanks. How are you?
Lovely. I'm good, and I'm actually looking forward to talk to you because I read through your book blogs, and I also read through your profile, and I was really, had building so many questions in my mind. So the first thing that comes to my mind, I was reading your profile, and I read that you are trying to put Pondicherry on the French literary map. So this is something really interesting. I would like to know more on this.
Yeah, it's, from my first interview I gave for I think it was for the Hindu, almost like 10, 12 years back. My first statement was that I'm going to put Pondicherry in the French literary map. Because for the simple reason is Pondicherry exists in the French literature as a city, the former French colony, everything, but not from an insider. It has been written, Pondicherry has been written from people from France, most of them, old French authors, and some people who are just passing by, some Americans, this and that. But French Pondicherry from a Franco-Pondicherry perspective, no, that has not been the case for almost 270 years of the French presence in India. And even though before that, the first book written in French about India was in 1530, 1530, something like that. So from that time up to 2012, 15, something like that. I'm very bad in numbers when it comes to years. There is never been a Franco-Pondicherrian novelist. I'm not saying writer. Writers, people have been writing Franco-Pondicherrian, but mostly they're like scientific books about law and medicine, doctors, or that kind of book. But in the novel format, I can say I'm the one of the first one. Mr. K. Madhavan has written also a book, a collection of short stories called To Die in Benares, Mourir à Benares, translated by the same translator who translated my second book, The Thinnai. So K. Madhavan is a kind of precursor, I could say, but as a short story, but not novel. So I'm the first novelist, actually. So from the time I wrote Carnet Secret de Lakshmi, the first book, I realized how much Pondicherry history and the French presence in India is totally unknown to the larger public. It's known in the academic circle among historians, but in the popular literature, it's not there. So I said myself, okay, this is going to be my niche, and even Blake Smith, the translator, he called the Pondicherry genre. So I started the movement of Pondicherry literature genre. So that's yeah.
And you've also talked about most of your books the French colonialism impact and also like Indian caste system. So I want to know that what exactly was the history of Pondicherry and how did it come into the hands of French people and how did it get free? So you talk about that also in your book. And I also want to ask you first. Let's answer these. Then I'll ask you the next one.
Well, this is again the subject of my upcoming book now, a collection of short stories, which is going to come in October, November, is to challenge the colonial narrative, colonial lie, when I would say. Because what the French are saying is that before the Europeans came to Pondicherry, it was a fisherman village. Fine. So this has been the narrative for since 270 years or so on. But while doing research about Pondicherry, because I do a lot of historical research, I found out that in Pondicherry, before the French came, there was three major temples inside the boulevard, and outside there were two other temples like Villeneuve and other things. There were two mosques, and there was a Muslim cemetery.
Okay.
And you live in India. I'm sure you've been traveling around India, many places. Do you know any fisherman village with three major temples, two mosques, and a Muslim cemetery? So it is not a village; it's a city. It's a full-fledged city, right?
Yeah.
So in order to justify colonization, in order to justify their presence, the French has been lying all these years, saying that it was a fisherman village. It's not. So I'm challenging the narrative by saying the book I'm writing is about the colonial urban project. Why those streets are named after this and this and that. But what was that before the French came to Pondicherry? So I'm challenging the narrative, and that's why I'm saying Pondicherry was not a fisherman village. One could say maybe the four boulevards, right? Have you been to Pondicherry, Mona Lisa?
Not yet.
Oh my God! Well, then you should go. Maybe after reading Nocturne Pondichéry, I'm sure
Yeah,
that
yeah.
will be
Yes.
the love to go to Pondicherry. So Pondicherry is a small town. I mean, what we call there's a white town and the black town. Still called the black town and the white town. So it's just four boulevards, right? Maybe that part was the coastal area of Pondicherry, which is a larger city or town or region, I would call it, right? So that coastal area must have been a fisherman village for sure. But on the other side, what we call the Black Town, there was already temples and everything.
Okay.
So Pondicherry is a very old city actually. If you take 6 kilometers from Pondicherry, Arikemedu is an archaeological site where there was a trade with the Roman and the Greeks.
Hmm.
It's a very known archaeological site. So it has been from long time a flourishing city. But at one point, I think under all the kings were there. The Pallavas ruled for some time. The Cholas ruled for some time. So at one point after the Vijayanagara Empire, it went down. It was kind of became dormant, I would say. Till the French people came, it became a little more flourishing because the main reason why the French people came is because of the textile. It was the cotton from Pondicherry which attracted them. Because Pondicherry was the center where people used to make cotton and sell them outside. I mean, that's one of the reasons. So that is why I got attracted to write only about Pondicherry because there's so many layers of Pondicherry history has not been told.
Hmm.
So this is one of the reasons. So Pondicherry is a very old city.
Okay.
And if you go a little further, Bahur, it was called Vedapuri at one point because they used to have Vedic schools. So if there's all these small places around Pondicherry are very old, it means Pondicherry is also old. It's not because you came and you built a couple of colonial houses and you divided the city into two by calling White Town and the Black Town with a canal. It becomes new. No, it is very old city.
Okay. Now you were just saying that Cholas have ruled there and some other rulers you were naming. So I just want to ask you that since you have talked about French colonialism, do you also somewhere talk about historical background of it? Like, do you wish to write about it some in the future? Or maybe
No, I've already in all my books, even in the first book, Carnet Secret de Lakshmi, I explain I always talk about the pre-colonial Pondicherry.
Right. Okay.
Carnet Secret de Lakshmi Secret Diary, I talk about the pre-colonial, the colonial, and the post-colonial. So these three periods are always in my books.
Hmm.
At one point, one way or the other, I always talk about what was the pre-colonial Pondicherry. So in the Carnet Secret Lakshmi, I talk about the pre-colonial Pondicherry through the Siddhas, who are like they are saints,
Hmm.
they go into Jiva Samadhi. Uh, and Pondicherry is a very spiritual place. That's one of the reasons that Aurobindo moved. It's not only for that, but Aurobindo moved for various reasons because it was French and he tried to escape from the English uh, system. Uh, but by coming to Pondicherry, I think he got even more spiritually awakened because it's a very spiritual place. And
Hmm.
there's almost like, I think it's around 20 Siddha saints who went into Jiva Samadhi around Pondicherry. So, it's a spiritually very charged place. So, all these elements I've always make a point to talk about the pre-colonial Pondicherry in all my books. So, people know about what was there before the French came.
Right. And how did you do all the research for writing all of your books? Because I'm sure there's a lot of research you had to do, and a lot of reading, and of course. So, did you go through the internet-based knowledge, or
I
maybe you
do,
read?
I don't know, I do, like, I never, at one point, I think after writing Carnet Secret de Lakshmi, I wanted to do the writer stuff, move to Pondicherry and be there doing research and getting immersed from the atmosphere and writing.
Hmm.
So I went there, and there's an old bar called the Quality Bar, which is all my books because I was almost born there, I would say, because my father used to take me when I was kid. So I know that place from the age of 4 or 5,
Okay.
and it's very old, but there's high ceiling, lot of
Hmm.
history and memories. So I went there and I asked the owner because it was closed down. So I said, please just give me a small space where I could sit and write. The
Hmm.
man was kind enough, so he opened that bar for me and gave me a small space and even provided me with by some beers and everything. So I drank all the beers. I never written one word because for the simple reason I was too close to the subject I'm writing. You see, and I need to have some kind of distance,
Hmm.
geographical distance, to allow me to what do you call to
Process. Right.
yeah, I think to think better, and that's one of the reasons the first two books, Kanesu Lakshmi was written in Abuja in Nigeria. Thinnai was written off in Abuja and off in Oslo, and the rest I'm just writing wherever I am. So uh, I can't go down to Pondicherry and write. So all my research are done sometimes on the net, but I'm so lucky because I am working with almost like 10, 15 historian friends who are providing me all the information that I need. So whatever I want to write, and I just call them, I just send them and say, hey, you have this story, that story. So for the last, since I started to write, I'm working with 10, 15 historians because I like to have the historical accuracy. I don't like to just check on the net randomly and find something because there's so many rubbish on the net. So I want to give that kind of intellectual credibility to my
Right.
books.
That's wonderful. Okay, I was just reading through the blurb of your book, Lakshmi's Secret, and I just want to ask you that is it a fable you have written because you have used some of the, like, you are using animals as characters, or you have some other deeper kind of, satire maybe, or some sort of sarcasm towards about the
I
society that.
don't, yeah, I mean, people when they read that book, they said you must be really it must be really crazy to start your writing career writing through an elephant perspective, animal's perspective. Because animal, sometimes we intend to uh, take it to kind of very childish book for children, right?
Right.
But of course, there's other books like Animal Farm, which has been a serious books, right?
Mm.
No, Carnet Secret de Lakshmi, I think I did because I just wanted to hide myself behind an elephant. You see, because there's a lot of autobiographical uh, passages. It's mostly autobiographical, you see. But I don't want to talk about myself because maybe I was not mature enough in my writing to talk about myself. So I used a kind of trick using the elephant to talk about my identity problem and my point of view on caste and Indian politics and a lot of things. So that's just like because maybe it was like a literary cowardice.
I, I actually found it quite interesting, so I won't say that because I haven't read. I mean, I would be honest that I haven't come to such kind of ideation before this because I was thinking that maybe it's a fable you have tried to write, but then you're saying that it has some other layers of emotions and you are trying to portray.
No,
Okay,
no,
now let's talk about your book.
it is also. I wanted to write something, uh, some, as you said, in for the philosophical fable. Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
No, but otherwise, otherwise I would have chosen some different stuff. It was kind of over ambitious, to be honest. But I was really in conscience. I didn't know. I was just writing with the flow and what was coming in my mind. And there is not that much of historical research on that book, even very few. The Thinnai has more historical research. But Carnet Secret de Lakshmi, it was just with the flow. And the more I was writing, the more I was getting myself absorbed in that book. And by using that tripod dog Baba, for example, that, that that dog and the flying fish. So why? Because I don't want to have only one protagonist. I want to have several. So the other were just added according to the story.
Right. This sounds interesting. I'm sure people would love to read it. But now you were just telling me that it's pricey on Amazon India, so I don't know. For me, I think I have to wait till I get it.
I'll send you the PDF. you know, now
Indian kind.
I was so happy and even very proud by getting published by such a uh, prestigious university. But this is the backside of the coin back because when the book is cost like 2,643 rupees, nobody is going to buy my book. And one of the reason that book is not popular in India because of the price. But otherwise, uh, I think people will love that book because it's very related to the elephant, temple, and then again Ganesha. Unfortunately, I had to pay the price of getting published by Americans.
Okay.
Maybe with the Trump, with the new, what do you call that policy, that that tax or whatever he's bringing,
Yeah.
something might come out of this.
No, that difference always comes because if we are publishing here in India and we have to, send it to some other country, like any country outside India, so it becomes pricey. So it happens.
Yeah, because I've been lucky with the two other books. Thinnai and Nocturne Pondichéry was published by Ashit India, and it's a normal price. I think it's like 300 rupees or something like that, which is very, I mean,
Hmm.
normal. 3,000 rupees. I mean, one should be insane to
Right.
price that book in that way. Yeah.
So Let's talk about your novel, The Thinnai. First, I was reading some of the reviews, and it says that this is a panoramic view of Pondicherry's past. Plus, you talk about French soldiers, Tamil activists, Creoles, and a lot more. So, I really want to know that. Firstly, why the title, The Thinnai, and also, again, you're showing French colonization effect. So, tell me more about it. How did the idea come that you wanted to write this book?
But Carnet Secret de Lakshmi, when you read it, you'll understand. Even though the book is, I like to talk about, normally say, Pondicherry as a microcosm
Okay.
and enlarge it to the macrocosm. It's a starting point. But from the starting point, I don't stay there. I travel. I take my readers into a kind of big voyage. So, Kanishka Lakshmi, it starts in Pondicherry, and then at one point you end up in Burma and to Kerala, to different parts of India. Isn't it? So, Thinnai is the same thing. Thinnai is just it's the French version of the book. So,
Okay.
so
Yes.
um, Thinnai, same thing is just you know what a Thinnai, right? I think no. You're from Bengal, right?
Yeah.
You're from Kolkata. I
Yes.
think there is something similar in Kolkata or in Bengal, in the Bengal culture, but
Hmm.
they say it's in the back of the house.
Okay.
I forgot the name of the place, the name of that thing. It's part of the house, right?
Okay.
It's a place where people just sit and talk.
Okay.
And
More like like we said, it's like a veranda or courtyard maybe,
yeah,
or
yeah,
and and the gossip thing is adda. That's what we call.
exactly, exactly. That is the
Yeah.
thing. So
Yeah.
Chennai is the same thing. It's just a platform, elevated platform
Okay.
attached to the facade of the house,
Okay.
where normally you receive your guests. And
Hmm.
I mean, in India, you don't bring stranger inside your house immediately.
Inside. Yeah.
The person has to be known to the family
Hmm.
to enter the inside of the house. So Tinai is a place when you receive, and if the person is not known, they
Okay.
can still sit and talk, and then he leaves.
Hmm.
But also Chennai is a place where in the evening those days when there
Hmm.
was no TV because TV had destroyed the Chennai culture and
Okay.
mainly the serials had,
Hmm.
had destroyed the Chennai culture because now everybody wants to see the serial, so nobody wants to sit outside. But in my days, people used to sit outside and the ayah will be in one corner talking about telling stories. You can read the papers, lot of stuff. It's a very what do you call convivial space.
Okay.
So after writing Kanasaka Lakshmi, which is only inside the four boulevards, I wanted to move outside the boulevards because inside the boulevard, that's what I call the colonial city, right? That is the colonial. But outside, people don't know what is outside.
Hmm.
Even like, for example, now tourists are going to Pondicherry. Now it's become a very popular tourist destination, right? People go to Pondicherry. Where they go, they only go to the White Town because it's close to the beach and all the colonial architecture and cafes and everything. So if you come to the Black Town, it's like any regular uh, Indian city or town. Even though there is something very special to Pondicherry, like what you call the kind of hybrid architecture between Indian architecture and the French architecture, European architecture. So there are kind of hybrid houses. But mostly people stay in the White Town. They eat all the restaurants, bars, and cafes are there. But other
Okay.
than that, they don't know Pondicherry. They don't know what is on the north of Pondicherry, what is the south of Pondicherry. So I wanted to plant that story outside Pondicherry, which is a Kursukuppam, a fisherman village. The fisherman village, not only fishermen, but is also
Okay.
uh, Dalit area. So
Hmm.
I wanted to show that beside beside that postcard Pondicherry, which is the colonial city with all these beautiful colonial houses and everything, there is other Pondicherry, which is this is Pondicherry. And I got inspired by a book by V.S. Naipaul called Miguel Street. So Miguel Street, it's a book by one of Naipaul, write about the streets in Trinidad where it comes from, right? So the entire book, it's a very small book. It talks about the one street. So I like that idea of telling a story through through a street. So I wanted to tell the story of Pondicherry, history of Pondicherry through that Thinnai. But again, Thinnai, it starts with the Thinnai and then he goes to Kerala, he goes to Mumbai, he goes to Guadeloupe in the French uh, Caribbean city, and then it goes to Maldives. So again, it's a voyage. So that is a Thinnai.
That's lovely.
But also,
Okay.
I wanted to tell a story about the Dalit community
Hmm.
because when we talk about Pondicherry, we don't talk about those people. And there's a map I saw long time back. I think it's now from 1783 or something like that. A French map. It says and it shows Pondicherry and with different areas. And Kursukupam, where the story happens, they say people of nothing, good for nothing.
Okay.
So means even the French colonial system thought those fishermen or those Dalit people are not even worth talking, mentioning them. So that's the reason I wrote about the Dalit people.
Right. So, do you further ever wish to write about, like you have mostly written about the colonization effect and other things about, you also want to write the cityscape somewhere of Pondicherry, like the modern times of these times?
Yeah, Nocturne Pondichéry is a modern time.
Okay, I got the book.
Yeah. So that is mostly now. It's happening now, and even the second book, the book is coming up in October. That's also. I like to shift between past and present.
Hmm.
It keeps on in all my books. It's not one linear time frame. I keep on shifting between past and present. So Nocturne Pondicherry is mostly about the present Pondicherry. Uh, Again, uh, Nocturne Pondicherry, people asking about why Nocturne, why night? Uh, because I saw a blog or a blog, yeah, a blogger last time. He's talking about Pondicherry from morning to evening, and comes 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and then he shuts down. As if Pondicherry is sleeping after 9 or 10 o'clock. But nobody knows there is a nightlife in Pondicherry, which is totally different from the daytime Pondicherry. Daytime Pondicherry is for the tourist, right?
Okay.
But nighttime Pondicherry is where all these things are happening: prostitution, drugs,
Hmm.
suicide,
Hmm.
and all the dark side of Pondicherry. But
Hmm.
nobody wants to talk about it because when you promote Pondicherry as a tourist destination, you don't want to talk about the bad stuff. So,
Right.
and last time when I was presenting this book in the Alliance Française Pondicherry, the guy, my friend Ashok Panda, who is the director of the INTAC and is also working for the developing Pondicherry tourism. I said
Hmm.
I'm the worst ambassador when it comes to promote Pondicherry as a tourist destination because if you read that book, you don't want to go there. But
Okay.
I wanted to say that because what happens, Pondicherry has become a TikTok city. You know, you go there just to take pictures of in front of the buildings, in front of cafes, and put them on Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is. But you don't know who are the people living behind this facade. It's almost like de dehumanizing Pondicherry by going there and without even knowing about the Pondicherry history. You just go there just to take pictures, and that's it. You're not interested in the history of Pondicherry.
Right. So, Ari, I want to ask you one thing. I hope I don't make you uncomfortable, but I'm really curious that as we have seen that mostly like in movies and in also theater and ways of entertainment, we see that male gaze is talked about and it's quite prevalent. So, do you somewhere use it in your narratives as well, like as part of sarcasm or maybe like a satire or to criticize maybe?
Am I using male gaze, you mean?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so, Mona Lisa. No. Wow. If you read Carnet Secret de Lakshmi, you will understand because Lakshmi is a female elephant, right?
Okay.
And I
Like
am.
maybe this one? Because I was reading the reviews and they sounded like that, you're somewhere showing the dark side of Pondicherry as we were talking, like prostitution and things. So does male gaze also come somewhere?
No, no, exactly. I'm a staunch feminist.
Okay.
You see, and I think from the age of 10, 12, the first time I read poems of the Mahakavi Bharadya, I used to live in front of his house. And Bharati
Okay.
is one of the first ones who, who, who taught me what feminism is about.
Hmm.
And Nocturne Pondichéry, if you take that book again, there are
Hmm.
all the stories. There is Marguerite, um, even the first story, Vidi. They talk about they are all female protagonists.
Okay.
And I think recently someone wrote a review on that book, and I think they did justice to me because they said the way Ari Gautier is giving life for these women
Hmm.
is totally unprecedented in the sense it's not a male gaze. It's very I like the way you asked me the question because I'm trying to move. I'm not to have that male gaze actually. And whenever I write about a female character,
Hmm.
I become myself a woman. I think that is part of my Ardhanadishwara thing inside me, I think. So I think like a woman, I act like a woman, I behave like a woman.
Hmm.
And I try not to have that male gaze.
Hmm.
I'm very happy that you asked me this question because just before coming to you on this platform, I'm
Right.
finishing a short story.
Okay.
And that short story, while I was writing, it was about a man who is going to commit suicide because he's badly treated by his wife his entire life.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so, I don't know, suddenly it came to my mind. He said, my God, why am I portraying a woman in that way? Maybe this guy didn't understand his wife. He never managed to understand his wife. That's one of the reasons he sees her only black and white. Maybe there is some dark zones or gray zones, sorry, where he didn't understand his wife. So I changed the entire story in order to understand him.
Hmm.
And the book I finished writing in October, which is coming out in October. It is
Okay.
about 9 women with 9 different destinies who
Hmm.
has moved out of India as indentured laborers.
Okay.
You see,
Lovely.
as Girmita in different islands in Mauritius, Reunion, and the French Caribbean, those things. And each and every story, they use their sexuality in
Hmm.
order to win over a patriarchal society. And despite the violence, despite hardship, they, they win over the destiny.
Okay.
So I'm very far from being a male gaze writer. I,
Lovely. And I'm really amazed that you're writing about so many women characters. It's coming easily to you, like you're writing and you're saying that you're a staunch feminist, so that's lovely to know. And I also would like to know one thing, that how did the journey happen? Like from Pondicherry to now to Norway, you are settled. I really want to know how did it all happen.
Oh, normally I never reveal my personal life. I don't talk about
Oh,
my
sorry.
personal life.
If you're not comfortable, it's fine.
No, no, that's fine. That's fine. You are on this side. You doing your job. No, I just happened to be. Uh, as you know, I was born in Madagascar.
Hmm.
From my father is Tamilian from Pondicherry. My mom is from Madagascar. I was born
Okay.
in Madagascar, and after my birth, we moved to Pondicherry. So that's where I grew up. And after my studies, I moved to France, where I lived there for some time. And
Hmm.
at one point, I got fed up of living in France. I moved back to Pondicherry, and I stayed there for 7 years, where I met
Hmm.
my wife. She's Norwegian, so she kidnapped me to Oslo. Here you go.
Wonderful. Okay, so I was just going through your bio profile, and I just read that three of your books are coming out. So that's really very interesting. I mean, three books together, and one of them is, I guess, a poetry book. So you also write poetry. That's something really amazing to know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, my first love is poetry, as I said, because of Mahakavi Bharadiyar.
Okay.
I think I wrote my first poem at the age of 13 or 14. But then again, that's very childish type of poetry. And I continued to do that even when I was in France. But at one point, I lost touch with poetry. And it
Okay.
came back to me during COVID time,
Hmm.
and used to write poetry, well, like here and there. Uh, and then when I started to put in my bio or even in my social media's account, writer and poet, and then people ask and say, okay, you're a poet, but where is your poetry book? You call yourself poet, you have not seen any of poetry book. So that's one of the reason I wrote this. But I write poetry, but they were scattered all over.
Hmm.
On my phone, on a notebook, on my computer. So I
Hmm.
collected all of them together, and that's poetry which has come out. And it came out in August.
Okay.
And the other book is coming out in October. That is called The Memory of Canefield.
Hmm.
The third book is Cryofuturism. Uh, that is, I'm finishing it, but I don't think it will come out this year. That is little over ambitious
Hmm.
from me. No, because you know why? Because from Nocturne Pondichéry, uh, it took almost 4 years for
Okay.
this poetry book to come. Because every time I'm finishing a book, there's one translation comes. So I need to work on translations also, and it takes as much of
Hmm.
time and requires energy to work on translation, even though it's not. I don't translate my stuff,
Hmm.
but working with the translator. So now I've been working with the Tamil translation of three of these books. So that takes a
Okay.
lot of time. So that's another reason there was a slight gap. But then again, I was become very impatient. I need to write myself. So that's why three books at one row.
Right. So mostly when your book is out, do you take a break, or again you go back into that writing mode?
No break. Here, there's no break at all. It's like running 24 hours. It's like a 7-Eleven. It keeps on. Like I just did an interview for the Mauritius broadcast
Hmm.
2 days back. It will come out tomorrow. So he asked me about this poetry book. I mean,
Hmm.
interesting. This poetry book. At the end of the day, when I go and lay down my bed, before
Hmm.
sleeping, words will just enter my brain, my head.
Hmm.
And so sometimes if I have the courage, I still have energy. Sorry, not courage. I still have energy. I would just type it in my on my phone. So I stock them somewhere, just the words. So from them, from those words, I will develop a poem. But sometimes I'm wake up. When I wake up with words in my mind.
Hmm.
So these words are coming into during my sleep.
Okay.
So when I wake up with words in my mind. So again, immediately I took my phone, I write on my phone, and then I compose my poems out of those words are coming. But why I'm saying that, like even when I sleep, I write when I even sleeping.
Right. Lovely. Now we know all your secrets.
It's sometimes it can be tiring. You see, it can be really tiring because I want to wind up. Some days I just want to say, "Oh my God, I don't want to think about writing. I don't want to think about anything." No, it's inside now. It's in the system. I can't do
Hmm.
anything.
Right. So, Eddie, I was really having this wonderful time with you, but as it's almost like 40 minutes we have talked, so
Oh,
I
really?
know.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was really lovely to meet you today virtually and also know about your book and also the history of Pondicherry because I had no idea. So I just wanted to know it from you. So you have really enlightened me today, and I hope the audience can at least get this book because this is really available easily and you can at a very affordable price. So please pick this book, Nocturne Pondichéry, and Ari, you can connect with Ari on Instagram as well. If you like his book, please review it. So lovely having you today. I hope
Thank you,
we'll
Mona
catch
Lisa.
up again.
I really enjoyed talking to you. And do when you go to Pondicherry, take that book with you, and you can that's what most of the people do. They take my book and they go to Pondicherry and they travel with me. You know,
Definitely.
because because the city itself is a character in my books. Nocturne
Very true.
Pondicherry, the Pondicherry is a character. He's the main character.
Hmm.
So
Very true.
I don't take like the Pondicherry as a backdrop. No, it is
Hmm.
a character itself. So if
It's
you
like an old sentinel.
say it again,
It's like an old sentinel standing
yeah,
strong.
exactly. So if you go to Pondicherry, take the book and you will enjoy it more. So thanks for
Definitely.
having me. I really enjoyed talking to you and send me your book. I would like to read it.
Definitely, I'll send you the PDF. So, really looking forward to catch up again with more of your books whenever they are coming out. I wish you all the very best.
Thank you, Mona Lisa. Have a nice weekend. Thank you.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, audience. Please watch the interview and it will be also uploaded on YouTube soon. Have a great evening.